Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev posting on X yesterday evening about tokenization and why it is the best path to monetizing, or I say monetizing and modernizing the American financial system. Vlad Tenev joins us right now to discuss that issue, crypto regulation, prediction markets. I want to talk a little agentic trading, Trump accounts. By the way, I just signed up for my children and more. He joins us from Washington, D.C., where he's going to be attending a meeting at the White House and a separate meeting at the CFTC tomorrow. Good morning to you, Vlad. By the way, the Trump accounts app and all of I know you did a lot of the behind the scenes work. It's great. And it's so easy.
Way better than I would expect from any government thing that I was involved with. Could you get involved with the Treasury Department's purchase for bonds, too? Like, that would be really helpful.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. By the way, just one note on the Trump accounts, just because we're talking about it, and I know a lot of families that are trying to sign up for it. Right now, you can only effectively get the S&P 500 on it. That's what it is. Is that what it's going to be longer term, Vlad?
That's correct. Right now, you can get the S&P 500 through a low-cost ETF provided by State Street. And we wanted to make it as easy as possible for every American starting at birth to get access to the great American economy, to get ownership of these companies from birth and see the magic of compound interest. So we wanted to make it as simple as possible. Of course, over time, there's been discussion about more options, but I think the default of a diversified portfolio of the most prominent companies has been a great way to start and has been very effective.
Let's talk about tokenization, because that's something I obviously just wrote about. It's a conversation I think that's top of mind for you, but also controversial to some extent. It depends how people think about tokenization. So why don't we talk about the context with which you're describing it first?
Yeah, so tokenization, we're at the beginning of a super cycle, and it's going to take over the entire financial system. Now, a month ago, we launched Robinhood Chain outside the U.S., and this is our crypto blockchain. And one of the interesting things about it is it includes stock tokens as a primitive, which give tokenized exposure to U.S. stocks. Now, we started with 90 of them. Now we're up to 190. And these trade 24/7. And you can move them around the blockchain like you can Bitcoin or any other crypto asset. And what they really do is give exposure to U.S. stocks to people in over 120 countries. And I think this provides a roadmap for what the financial system can look like. Now, I think tokenization in the U.S. has come up, and I'd say it's broken up into two camps. There's sort of two sides to it. On one side, enthusiasts that just want to get their hands on this new technology, new capability, and they're asking us, when is it coming to the U.S.? What's that going to look like? On the other side, there's people that say, well, we already have simple access to markets here. We have products like Robinhood that provide fractional shares, 24/5 trading. Maybe it's not 24/7. So what's even the point? And so through my post, I kind of outlined the three key improvements on an infrastructure level that can actually impact people's lives in a positive way and make it easier in America for people to become investors and owners of our great economy.
How much of the tokenization effort, though, in the U.S., and obviously what you're doing currently is largely outside of the U.S. because of the regulatory scheme, is about the idea of getting, and this gets to the idea of democratizing access to private companies, and how we should think about that component part of the story?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're starting with U.S. stocks, which is an asset class that provides a great foundation of broad-based ownership, which is really what Robinhood is all about. We believe in broad-based ownership of high-quality financial assets. So stocks provides that foundation, but the infrastructure that we're putting in place to power 24/7 trading of stocks, the portability, the instant settlement, I think it's really interesting when it can be expanded to other assets where liquidity and access are even more challenging. And I think that's where you're going to start to see the advantages continue to increase for the tokenized framework rather than traditional financial services. Private companies are a main example of that, because with private companies, it's not just the access that's a problem, but also the liquidity, the market infrastructure. There's no good exchanges for private companies. And I think with tokenization, all of this can happen on the blockchain where there's already a liquid global market.
So, Vlad, I get the tech part of it, or the value proposition of the tech. I think there's a philosophical question about public markets versus private markets and effectively the convergence of them, and this idea of whether private markets should be available at scale in the same way that we have public markets, just without all the same regulations and necessarily disclosures. Where do you land there?
Well, I think that we certainly have to make sure we balance innovation with investor protection. I don't think that they're in conflict. In fact, what's made American capital markets the greatest in the world has been the balance of the two: strong regulations, access, and investor protection. I do think there's a real problem to be solved here, because if you look at all of these private companies, the AI companies like SpaceX up until recently, the lion's share of that value creation, the economic value, has been created without ordinary individual investors being able to participate. And I think that's a big problem. I think that broad ownership, particularly of these innovative companies, is essential to maintaining a free, stable, and prosperous society. So we've been pushing forward through that, be it through our tokenization initiatives outside the U.S. or Robinhood Ventures within the U.S., which is attacking it from a slightly different angle, but still getting to the same place.